The scorching heat made the air vibrate above the dunes when a figure appeared on the horizon, walking as if every step was his last. His feet dragged in the hot sand, his skin crackled with dryness. His lips were open in wounds, and his half-closed eyes glowed red from the wind and dust. His hair, stiff and tangled, stuck to his face, wet only by the salty sweat that dripped down slowly. As he neared the lonely hut, his wheezing breath sounded like the sound of someone who had fought against death and won. Barely. But what was really chilling wasn't her weakness. It was the silence in which she carried that presence. When he knocked on the door of the hut, the sound echoed dryly, as if even the wood was tired of enduring the desert. The man took a few seconds to open it. Long, almost cruel seconds. He was a hardened-looking widower, used to loneliness and the bitter memory of the wife he had lost years ago. His eyes narrowed at the sight of the woman, like someone measuring every detail, every gesture, trying to guess whether she brought danger along with her weakness. "Come in," he said at last, his voice hoarse, more with suspicion than kindness. When she crossed the threshold, the heavy air in the hut seemed even more suffocating, as if the space was too small to house two such broken stories. The creak of the door closing behind her sounded like a warning. From then on, there was no turning back. The hut was simple, made of old boards, lit only by the dim light of a lamp that swayed with the wind coming through the cracks. The smell of damp wood and wood smoke permeated the air. The man stood motionless with his arms crossed, observing every detail of the stranger he had just met. The silence between them was so dense that he seemed to hear her breathing, short, flawed, harsh, like someone struggling against their own weakness. Her cracked lips trembled as she tried to move, but she managed to let out a whisper, "Water, please." He hesitated. The request was simple, but his hard eyes didn't miss the hint of distrust. He walked over to an earthenware jug and poured it into a tin cup, handing it to her with a slow gesture. She drank with desperation, drops dripping down her chin as if each sip was a thread of life being restored. When she had finished, she wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, and her eyes, dark, deep, almost gloomy, met his. For a moment, the widower felt that there was something unsaid there, something burning behind that fragility. "Where do you come from?" he asked, breaking the silence with a firm, almost harsh voice. The woman took her time answering, staring into the flame of the lamp as if seeking strength from it. "From far away. From the desert. Farther than you can imagine." The man frowned, as if weighing up every word, and took a step closer. "And why did you come here?" She looked up, fixed, mysterious. "Because I needed to get to this place." Her tone was not one of someone asking for shelter, but of someone hiding a purpose. And in that instant, something inside him ignited. The stranger was perhaps not just a lost survivor, but someone who carried too many secrets. Silence once again filled the space between them, as heavy as the columns of sand that had begun to accumulate on the threshold of the hut. The widower, still standing, rested his hand on the back of a chair without sitting down, as if refusing to share the same level as her was a defensive instinct. His eyes scrutinized every detail, the dust in her disheveled hair, the boots worn out from long trails. The way her hands trembled did not indicate cold, but something that was hidden. "Nobody crosses the desert alone and gets here alive," he muttered, almost to himself, but loud enough for her to hear. The woman raised her face slowly, and for the first time a slight smile appeared on her cracked lips. It wasn't a smile of gratitude or innocence. There was a shadow of knowledge in it, as if she knew more than she let on. "Who said I arrived alone?" she replied in a low but firm tone. The words made the man's jaw clench. What did she mean by that? Had she left someone outside? Was she being followed? He walked over to the window, pulled aside the threadbare curtain, and peered into the darkness outside. Nothing but a windstorm and the distant howl of a coyote. But doubt had already been planted, and doubt for a man scarred by loss was poison. He turned back to her, and his voice sounded laden with memory and pain. I've already lost an entire family by trusting strangers. I won't repeat the same mistake. His tone was dry, almost cutting, but his eyes revealed a greater weight, the memory of a past in which trust had cost him everything. She faced him, and for a moment there was no longer any weakness in her posture. Her shoulders rose, her breathing steadied, and her voice came clear as if each syllable had been carefully chosen. I didn't ask for trust. I just asked for a glass of water. The firmness of her answer made the atmosphere even more tense, and the widower, even without meaning to, felt something change inside him. The woman's fragility was real, but there was also a hidden strength, like a blade hidden under a cloak. He approached, finally pulling out the chair and sitting down in front of her. The creak of wood echoed like a silent duel about to begin. So speak. Who are you? And what have you really come here for? The flame of the lamp flickered, casting shadows on the walls, as if the hut itself was waiting for an answer. The woman looked away for a moment, took a deep breath, and with a voice full of mystery said, "If I told you, you wouldn't believe me. But soon, you'll see." His heart raced, not because of the immediate danger, but because of the certainty that this stranger had not knocked on his door by chance. The silence that followed her last sentence wasn't empty. It was a silence that carried weight, like that of a secret kept under lock and key. The widower leaned back in his chair, but didn't relax. His fingers drummed on the worn table, while the sound of the wind through the cracks in the hut was reminiscent of invisible footsteps prowling outside. He watched her like someone measuring the distance to an enemy before a duel. Will I see it soon? What the hell does that mean? He thought, but he didn't dare say it out loud. He didn't want to seem curious. He didn't want to give her power. The woman lowered her eyes to the bucket lying next to the door. There was still a little bit of melted water there, reflecting the light of the lamp. Her lips moved slowly, almost in a whisper. Water always reveals who really survives. He frowned. Was it a riddle, a metaphor, or madness? But before he could press her, she lifted her gaze again, and this time there was no fragility. There was something in her eyes, a mixture of ancient pain and the determination of someone who has walked to the end of a road of no return. Do you think you're the only one who's lost everything? She said, her voice broken but firm. The only one who buried a lifetime behind a shovel of frozen earth? I've lost too, and I've lost more than once. The widower felt his breath catch. That wasn't just an answer, it was a confession. But confession of what? Anger mixed with grief throbbed in his chest, and he leaned forward, almost growling. Who are you talking about? Husband? Children? Or accomplices? She didn't look away. The fire from the lamp reflected in her pupils, giving her an almost hypnotic look. All of them, she answered, dry as a sentence. The word echoed through the room, cutting through the air. The widower felt a shiver run down his spine. He wanted to believe that it was just a theater of despair. But something in her tone, something true, inescapable, was there. He stood up in a huff, the chair tipping over behind him. He went over to the shelf, picked up the old rifle he never left, and rested it against his shoulder. No more riddles. You're not here by chance, so tell me once and for all, who sent you to my door? The woman remained motionless. No fear, no surprise. Just that enigmatic expression that consumed him. And then, finally, she broke the tension with a sentence that seemed to carry a weight greater than the night itself. "Nobody sent me, but I came because of you." The widower remained standing, his breathing fast, his eyes fixed on the woman as if she were a mirror. The silence in the hut was almost palpable, heavy with the past he carried. Then she broke the silence, but this time not with riddles. "I didn't come by chance," she said, her voice firm. "I discovered that the same men who destroyed your family are on their way, and you can't face them alone." He blinked, surprised, trying to gauge whether it was true or just another play on words. "And why should I believe you?" he muttered, his hand still near his rifle. She took a deep breath and with a direct look revealed the secret she was carrying. "Because I'm the daughter of the man who ordered the death of your family. But I'm not him. I've come to stop them taking more victims so that what happened to you doesn't happen again." His heart raced. Anger, confusion, and disbelief mixed with a thread of unexpected hope. She continued, "I can't change my blood, but I can choose my actions. And I chose to come after you, not just to warn you, but to help you survive." He slowly lowered the rifle, the tension easing as he felt something unexpected being born. Confidence, and perhaps something more. "So, we're going to face this together?" he asked, his voice firm but laden with vulnerability. She nodded, a shadow of relief passing across her desert-scarred face. "Yes, but we need to move quickly." In that instant, the two lonely stories, his marked by loss, hers marked by the weight of a dark legacy, intertwined. And as night crept over the desert, the two of them left the hut side by side, knowing that escape would only be the beginning of a strange partnership, a bond forged by danger, truth, and the need to survive. The desert wind carried the past with it, and for the first time in many years, the widower felt something other than fear, something he hadn't felt since he saw his family buried. He felt hope now alongside the mysterious woman who had so quickly won his trust. Let us know what you think, and if you'd like a video of the continuation of this story, please comment below.